Welcome to Fire Friday. I am Natasha, your host. I am a mental health expert, licensed mental health professional, and I'm a confidence mindset coach. And this Fire Friday is not live. I usually go live, but this Fire Friday, is one that's not live, but it's going to be the same type of vibe and same type of energy as always. I'm excited about today's discussion. As you can see, there's been a build on all the different Fire Fridays, right? Like each one is building on to another. And today, so before I go on to today, so with that being said, make sure you check the past Fire Fridays because you're going to see how they build and how they connect. And make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. This is Speak Like Transformation TV YouTube channel. It is all about mental wellness education, helping you educate, helping you become more aware and become educated on what it means to care for your mental health. What are those mindset blocks that may be stopping you from really showing up as your best self? All about awareness, helping you become aware and gain an insight of how your thoughts are impacting how you show up and strategies on how to reframe those ways of thinking, strategies on how to care for your mental health. So yeah, if this is right in the line in the lane of where you're trying to be right now, then you need to subscribe. So hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the notification button and like this video. So today's conversation I'm excited about because I love talking about boundaries. And boundaries are such a popular topic because so many people struggle with setting boundaries. We're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about why boundaries are hard, why there's a block in boundaries, but also how to set healthy boundaries when it comes to your professional life, when it comes to being a successful businesswoman, when it comes to being a successful women professional or leader. What does setting boundaries look and sound like? So let me just help you understand this, right? When it comes to boundary setting, first things first, right? If everything is urgent, nothing is intentional. I'm gonna let that sit. You need for me to repeat that again? Okay, I will repeat it again. If everything is urgent, nothing is intentional. What I mean by that is when you are putting out fires and everything is an emergency, and a lot of times it's not even your emergency, you're making other people's emergencies your emergency. Then you're just reacting to life. You're not stopping to think about what is the best choice. You're not stopping to think about, should I be responding to this or not? Is this for me or not? Is this going to cause me to become burnout or emotionally exhausted? Do I have the time for this? No, no. You're not thinking about it because it's an emergency. When something's an emergency, we just react because it's an emergency. We don't have time to stop and think. We gotta go, right? But if everything is an emergency, then you can't be intentional in that way to stop and think. And therefore, then you can't set boundaries. And then you're living in this boundless world and then wondering why so many people have access to you that doesn't deserve to have access to you. Why you feel like you're like running around with a chicken with its head cut off every single day. Why you just feel overwhelmed before you even get out the door. You're already feeling overwhelmed, right? And it's because everything is an emergency. And so today I'm going to help you shift that so you can be more intentional and not make everything an emergency and not react and putting out fires, but being more responsive to your life. Now, this is something that people kind of it can become a block when it comes to boundaries, is that it's seen as a personality trait. This is what I mean by that. Many people do not set boundaries because they feel like boundaries mean that I'm a selfish person, I'm a self centered person, I'm a bossy person, I'm an aggressive person, I'm an inconsiderate person. And so, therefore, I don't want to set boundaries because I don't want people to see me in that way or believe that I'm that type of person. And so, therefore, boundaries then becomes this personality trait when it's not. Boundaries has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It is all about strategy. Boundary gives you strategy on how to execute. Without boundaries, you're just running around just for reacting to life, right? But when you have boundaries, you now have a strategy of how you're going to respond to different things within your life, whether it's personal or professional. So let's talk about why boundaries are hard. And there's something too about that strategy when it comes to boundaries, right? Boundaries helps remove the things that do not deserve your time and your energy and that are also blocking your peace so that you can then make space for the things that do deserve your time, your energy, and help bring you peace. That's why it's a strategy. But let's talk about why it can be hard to set boundaries. One, especially for my high functioning, high achieving women, right? One reason why it can be hard is because you are identified as a dependable one. Everybody's coming to you for the answers. You're the one that has the success. You're the one that has the degree, or you're the one that has the experience, or you're the one that always has the answers and know what to do. You're the one that's the mild mannered one who like knows who's the calm one that always has it together, right? And so for those reasons, people are always coming to you. And when you don't set boundaries and you just become the dumping ground for things, for problems and issues and needing solutions, right? Then what happens is you end up trying to be everything for everyone, which creates these boundless relationships. Nobody's thinking about your time and energy. Nobody's thinking like, oh, this is probably kind of late to call right now. Nobody's thinking, oh, well, she is busy with this or she is going through this, so maybe I shouldn't. No, nobody's thinking about that because you haven't set any boundaries. So they're coming to you anytime, any place without even thinking about it because they're expecting you to be there for them. Another reason why boundaries can be hard is there's this fear of disappointing others. What happens is inconveniencing others becomes more important than you inconveniencing yourself. The idea of making a situation more difficult for somebody else or not helping make it easy or not helping be the solution so they don't have to go through what they're going through, right? Or them becoming upset with you that you did not help them in the situation or you weren't there for them in the situation. You didn't do it the way they were expecting. That becomes way more important than you being inconvenienced by doing this, than having to be inconvenienced or your life is being disrupted. Here's another reason why boundaries can be hard is there's this combination of trauma and people pleasing patterns and they come together, right? And so you may have gone through some type of trauma or emotional distressing event that led you to experiencing rejection. And now you have this fear of being rejected by others, this worry of being rejected. And then therefore you end up pleasing so that people like you and you won't be rejected and or abandoned. And what happens with that is that it leads to dishonesty. This is what I mean by being dishonest. When you're people pleasing, you're trying to show up as the version that people are expecting you to be, that people want you to be. So you become this chameleon and you become this version that you think is going to be accepted. And then you never show up as your true, authentic self. You never really share how you truly feel, what you truly think, or your authentic ideas. And so therefore you end up showing up in a dishonest way because you're not showing up as your true self. You're showing up as this model, right? Or this template or this masked version of you. So these are all reasons why boundary setting can be hard. And here's one more. There's one more reason. Another reason why boundaries can be hard is business culture rewarding over accessibility. You know how it is in the corporate world or in the business world where being available all the time is what gets rewarded. Oh, she's a team player because she says yes all the time, or she's always available, or she works late, she stays late, or she shows up and covers for her coworkers, or she steps right in and takes on the initiative to, solve the problem or do the project when nobody else does, right? Meanwhile, you are burnt out. Meanwhile, they have way more access to you than they should. And so what happens is going above and beyond, mhm, going above and beyond and always being available makes work have access to you more than it should. And these are all reasons why boundaries can be hard. Now, I'm going to teach you three boundaries that protect execution. Because, we're all here to talk about executing, right? Because at the end of the day, you have goals that you want to achieve. You have a vision in your life that you want to make real. And you're not going to be able to execute that when you don't have boundaries. And so these are three ways to be able to execute. Number one, time boundaries. Now, the time boundaries is like this way of protecting your focus blocks. If you check out one of my execution edits, which is a short on my YouTube channel, I talk about the 2 anchor rule, right? Which is, it goes into the time boundaries or time blocks. I actually just was recently talking to clients about ways to block out their time. Because again, reacting, you're just going through the day and you're not actually being intentional about, okay, when do I actually want to do this? And this is another thing. This is another thing about the time block. I would say this is the most important aspect of time block, is honoring the block. Because to be honest, setting a time block isn't the hard part. You can have your whole schedule out. You can have one of those whiteboards that is made into a calendar, and you specifically say, okay, I'm going to do this type of work at this time. I'm going to do this type of work at that time. Tuesdays is what my day is going to look like. Wednesdays is what my day is going to look like. And then don't even honor it, because somebody else's emergency becomes your emergency. You get a call from your boss, and you were supposed to do this, and now your boss asks you to do this, and you just like, well, I got to do it because my boss asked. When you never even said, well, actually, I'm not available, but I am available at this time, right? Or your kids, mom, I need this, right? And a lot of times the kids' emergencies are not an emergency, but for them it's an emergency, but it's not a real emergency, right? And again, this all goes back to making somebody else's emergency your emergency. So then you don't even honor the blocks. Or another reason, this is for my high achieving women. Yes, I'm talking to you. Where you start something at a time block, you honor it, you start it at the time. And then when it's time to stop, because you've only allotted X amount of time for that project or that task, you don't stop. You keep going. Because you're like, I gotta get it done. If I don't get it done now, it's never gonna get done. No, you allotted time at another date or a later time to get it done. So you now need to stop. So with the time blocks, make sure you honor the time block. And don't allow somebody else's emergency or another task because you totally forgot about something. You're like, oh, I gotta do this. And next thing you know, you do that during the time. But no, honor your time block. And if something does come back up, make a time block for it. So honor your time block. And this is why this is important, because it helps with productivity. This strategy removes this overwhelm of trying to find time to do things, right? Because now you've taken the time, being intentional about your schedule and how you're going to effectively use your time within your schedule. It also helps boost confidence, because when you're able to have these time blocks and you're becoming more productive because you're getting things done, you start to trust in your abilities to actually start and finish your actual commitments. And then it also helps with follow through, because it increases the frequency of task completion. The fact that you actually have an allotted time for it, that increases the likelihood that it's going to get done and the frequency of you getting things done. Boundary tip number 2, emotional boundaries. Yeah. This is where you stop managing everybody else's emotions. How this connects with productivity. You stop spending time on something that you cannot control and that is not your responsibility. You cannot control other people's emotions and how they're going to respond to you, how they're going to respond to a situation, how the situation is going to impact them. Like, you can't manage people's emotions. And also, it's not your responsibility to manage their emotions. It's their responsibility to manage their emotions. They're the ones that's supposed to learn how to regulate their own emotions, not you. You're not supposed to be the one trying to prevent them from being upset. Or if they are upset, it's not your responsibility to make them no longer upset. That's not your responsibility. When it comes to confidence, the emotional boundaries helps you become more comfortable with people expressing upset emotions. Because a lot of times the managing emotions happens because of your discomfort of being around people when they're upset, whether it's at you or just about life or what have you. There's a discomfort that you have about that. And so as a result of that, you want to make sure everybody's having a good time when they're around you. Everybody is happy when they're around you, right? And then you don't have the confidence to actually deal with upset emotions from others. But when you allow yourself to set these emotional boundaries, you build confidence in that way and in that area. And lastly, the follow through with this. The follow through with this is where you now become clear on your role in relationships. There's no second guessing, overwhelming feelings of overwhelm, overthinking about what I should say. What should I be doing this? Should I step in or should I not step in? Or what? No, you know your role at this point, right? When you set those emotional boundaries, like, nope, I'm just here. That's not my job to make sure they're feeling better. That's not my job, right? Here's a tip. Here's another way to set that boundary too of like knowing your role. When someone calls you, because we all got that friend or that person in our life, business partner, employee, co-worker, family member, or friend, right, in our lives that often calls about a problem they're going through. And they don't ever really ask for help. They just vent and they complain. And then they kind of drop breadcrumbs, implying, being very passive or about wanting help or needing help. And then so, because of your discomfort with seeing somebody upset, seeing somebody struggle, you want to jump in and save them, right? When they didn't even ask to be saved. And then you're not really clear on your role in that moment. So here's a way to identify your role and get some clarity. When someone is coming to you in that way, you ask them, are you coming to me to vent or are you coming to me for a solution? Right there, you know your role. If they're just coming to vent, oh, okay, so I'm just here just to listen, normalize, and validate. If they're coming for a solution, oh, okay, so I'm here to be your thought partner to help you figure out a solution to this problem. Bam, you know your role. Let's talk about the final boundary. The final boundary is access boundaries. This is where you are being very clear and intentional about who gets your energy and how they're getting it. That part, that how part is important. Productivity is how it connects with productivity. This prevents you from going beyond your capacity because you recognize in this space, in this moment, this is what I have the time and energy for. And then you can think about how do I even want to use that? And how do I want other people to have access to that? And now you're not spending your time and your energy on things that do not deserve that. Where now you're burnt out, you have no time, you have no more energy, you have no more actual time. Your time is run out. Like there's no more time to even focus on what you actually want to focus on, right? And this is how it connects with confidence. You start to become comfortable saying no. There's no, oh, but I don't want them to think that I'm this or that I'm not a team player or that I'm not available or that I'm standoffish or I'm not just not an open door. No. You get comfortable saying, no, I'm not available at this time, but I am available at this time. Or I'm sorry, I can't do that because my load is full today. Maybe somebody else can help you with this, right? And then lastly, with this one, the follow through. Follow through with this happens because now you're only spending time on things that deserve your time and your energy. So now you have the time to follow through on the things that are important to you because you're only making time for the things that actually deserve your time and your energy. Here's my question for you. Which boundary is currently costing you progress? Think about that. Because there's something in your life right now. If you are struggling with executing, That means there is something in your life right now that is costing you progress. And whatever that is, think about which boundary would be helpful: access boundaries, emotional boundaries, time boundaries. Which one of those would be helpful to gain back the progress that you're looking to make? I want you to remember this: you can't execute a bold vision with porous boundaries. Because sometimes we do have boundaries and we're very passive with them. Where you actually set the boundary, right? And then when you get the pushback, you just give in. And then you cross your own boundaries. Or you get so worried about upsetting the other person or a person thinking, judging you in a certain way that you just either don't even say the boundary or again, you just cross your own boundary and give in so quickly. And sometimes you've been just running around every day, all day for the longest, just reacting to life that you never even thought to even stop to and be and think and be intentional about where in my life do I need to set boundaries. And one of the reasons is probably because you're telling yourself, I don't have time to stop. And as long as you tell yourself that, you're going to continue to not see the progress you want. You're going to continue to feel exhausted. You're going to continue to feel overwhelmed. You're going to continue to feel burnout because you are telling yourself that you cannot stop. You are telling yourself that you are not allowed to sit down and pause and reflect and reassess what needs to go and what needs to be added. So if you enjoyed this, then you have to come to the Identity to Execution Intensive that's happening on Monday. That's this Monday, February the 23rd. I'm excited about this. And we're going to go into a lot of details when it comes to being able to execute, closing that execution gap, closing the identity gap. And boundary setting is one of the ways to do that. So here is the link for that. Make sure that you sign up for it. Here is um, the flyer to give you more information about it. You can visit speakliketransformation.com/intensive to register. If you're a woman who is an entrepreneur or professional and you are just like, I'm either doing really well on paper, but I'm struggling inside, or you feel stuck and you are finding it hard to execute and move forward. This is for you. This is for you because I'm here to help you to be able to scale your business, scale your career in a way that does not lead to you losing yourself. It does not lead to you becoming emotionally burnt out and exhausted, where you don't have to sacrifice your emotional well-being in the process of just being great and the boss that you are. Okay. So again, visit speakliketransformation.com/intensive to get more details and to register for the events happening on Monday, February the 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is a virtual event. I hope you enjoyed this Fire Friday. Make sure you like this, share it with any woman that you need who you feel like this could be helpful to. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos. This is why you have to hit the notification button so you know when I drop any type of videos and you can get first dibs access to it as soon as it drops. And until I see you again, make sure you speak life, be bold, and be safe.